Welcome back to the Not Just a Bikini Girl podcast. This is your host, Jasmine Anderson. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about goal setting. It's that time of year between Christmas and New Year that people start to think about what goals they want to achieve and possibly what they didn't achieve in 2017. Now, I'm going to introduce to you a system that I use for myself and my clients. They find it really, really good to help them get a lot more clearer about where they want to be heading towards. And also actually hitting the goals that they want to be hitting and being consistent with them and being adherent to them. That is one thing that people find really, really difficult, is that they try and set these goals and at some point down the line, whether that's a day, a week, a few months, they lose that momentum. So whether you guys had a good or bad 2017, either way, it's a good thing, depending on how you choose to perceive this year. You always need to learn, you always need to progress, and you always need to take what you've learned about yourself and move it forward, whether that be for 2018 or just for your next week or just for your next month. People, when they come to set goals, they tend to do it very quickly, they tend to do it on the impulse, and they tend to do it with not much depth or much clarity. Now, the system that I use, which is really, really helpful, is called the GPS system. The reason why this is so important is because it gives you that deep drive and purpose. Now, that is the big word here. It's the purpose that you need behind that goal. Everyone can say they want to earn an extra 10 grand a year. Everyone can say they want to get a Lamborghini. Everyone can say that they want to win their next competition, but it has to go a lot deeper than that. When you next set your next goals for 2018, I want you to look at this system before you even start looking elsewhere. GPS. Goal, purpose, strategy. Many people dive straight into the strategy side, into the small little details, without actually stepping back and looking at the bigger picture here. So, set the goal. This has to be entwined with a bigger vision, and this is why it's so important. I'm not saying to have everything mapped out for the next 10 years, but I'm saying have an overall picture and vision of where you want to be. And then you start planning the small goals that are going to lead you to that big vision that you want to go to. So get your goal, but before you even go to your strategy, I want you to really take a good think about the purpose. Why? What is your reason behind this goal? So if you can think of something now, your goal needs to serve a purpose which is more than something which is very superficial. I want you to go back to 2017. What goals did you set at the beginning of the year? And did you reach them? And if you didn't reach them, what was the reason behind that? There could be many reasons for this, but I'm going to read out a few and I want to see whether any of these resonate with you. Number 1, you didn't work hard enough. Number 2, you weren't fully invested in the goal. Number 3, you lacked the self-belief to reach that goal. Or number 4, you lack the strategy and systems to work towards that goal. There could be other reasons here, but they're normally where most people fall into. They either didn't work hard enough or they didn't realise how hard this goal was going to be. They weren't fully invested in the goal, so they didn't go all in. Or they lacked the self-belief. They really wanted that goal, but something prevented them internally or mentally to stop them achieving that goal they wanted. Or they lacked the strategy and systems, so they didn't actually put the groundwork in and the planning behind that goal. So if you fall into any of these categories, you need to start, instead of just having your goal there, if you're trying to repeat the same goal and you know you didn't work hard enough, then you know what you need to work on first before you even try and reach that goal. Maybe you need to improve your mental stamina. Maybe you need to push yourself further in other areas of your life before you go and reach that goal. If you weren't fully invested in your goal, either there were external factors that had an influence into you preventing to reaching your goal, or you weren't able to control the environment that you were in, or successfully control the environment that you were in, or again, going back to purpose, maybe that goal really didn't mean anything to you in the first place, or you thought it did, but it really didn't mean enough for you to really get your ass in getting. I can do a really good example here. When I went into 2017, I was very much the opinion that I wanted to have, I think it was like 10,000 followers. And it was just a goal of like 10,000 followers on Instagram. Great. Have I got them? No. Why? because I actually realised I really didn't give a shit about 10,000 followers. I was just following the norm and following what everyone else wanted to do. So what was that? It wasn't the fact that I didn't work hard enough. I still posted, still did the hashtag, still did all that sort of stuff, but I weren't fully invested in the goal. I could have the strategies and systems in place there if I wanted to. I didn't lack the self-belief, but for me, I wasn't fully invested in the goal. It was a superficial goal to have, and it was something that I really didn't care about. That's just one example that you've got there, but don't get put off if you didn't reach a goal that you had at the beginning of this year, because I can recall probably 5 goals that I had at the beginning of this year, and I definitely wrote down more, but I forgot most of them. Why? Because I didn't care about them enough, and I didn't put enough work in the background to really have the purpose and really know why I wanted that goal. It had to serve more than just myself, and that's what I realised. And this GPS system that I've learned in June has been really, really valuable for getting my goals set up from June to this moment now. So GPS, it's got to mean a lot more to you. There's nothing stopping you as well from changing that goal halfway through the week, halfway through the month. Just because it's 2018, guys, don't feel at a disadvantage because you haven't got your goals set in place or you haven't got everything set in place. What's to stop you from having the goal of just finding out what the fuck you want to do? Finding out what goals you really want to have. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not like most of society. You want to push yourself mentally and physically. So what's to stop you from stepping away from the norm and naturally having the goal of, do you know what? I'm just going to roll into this year. And when it gets to the end of January, new year, new me, shit goes out the way, then I'm going to have a look and see what I want to do. A lot of people have these goals and then they fall on the wayside. They don't actually track and monitor whether they're pushing towards these goals, they're moving away from them, or whether in fact they need to change them and it wasn't the goal that they really wanted in the first place. Or things can change. You maybe want to strive for something more or something slightly different. So how do you go about monitoring these goals? If you're someone that's really driven and really motivated and really wants to push themselves, which I'm probably going to assume it's going to be most of you guys if you listen to this podcast, you're going to want to be monitoring this at least monthly and then have a quarterly overall review on these goals. So what I mean by that is, if you have a goal, then you're going to want to benchmark yourself every single month if have you done certain things. So for example, I'm setting up a business. So goals that I will going to have are going to be monthly. So I'm going to have things of, have I done pricing? Have I done my costings? What's the website progress? Have I sorted out IP? And these are certain things that I can't just willy-nilly hope they're going to happen. I've got to keep myself accountable. And this is something that you're going to have to do as well. So every single month, look at what things you need to achieve by the end of every single month to get to that goal that you want to have. So the good thing about doing this monthly is that you're going to be able to A, keep yourself on track, and B, realise whether you need to step your game up, whether you are invested in this goal, or whether you've lacked the system and strategy in place. So maybe you need to start implementing different things into your weeks in order to facilitate that goal. And when it comes to the quarterly goals, that's just having another overview of everything that you want. I actually started doing my big goals in June this year, and once I got to my quarterly goals, I realised that a lot of my goals had completely changed. Why? Because I grew as a person and I didn't feel like they resonated with me, and I wanted to go bigger. And there's no harm in wanting to go bigger, guys. If you've got a goal sitting there, then go so much bigger. Because if you set the goal of saying I'm going to go towards money, obviously there's other goals aside from money here, but say you want to be earning another £5,000 this year. That's a great goal to have. But what if you push yourself to have £10,000 a year? If you've set your brain to go and work towards £10,000, then are you more likely to get maybe 8? Even if you get 8 to 9, it's still going to be way more than that smaller £5,000 a year goal that you set yourself. So don't be afraid to aim higher when you go with your goals. Another area to consider when you're setting your goals, which I think people really, really underestimate, is your environment and where you are setting these goals. Think about somewhere that you know that is the most shittest place to be and it's so unmotivating and you hate it. Every single time you end up going there, you can't stand it, or you just feel really sluggish, demotivated, any negative connotations. Now, are you going to set your goals there? Hoping the answer is going to be no. What does that mean? You need to really look at where you're setting these goals, because environment plays such a big role, especially if you're a female competitor. Females are inclined to love environment and feel nurtured and feel comfortable. If you have a place that you know makes you feel really comfortable, makes you feel inspired, you can all think of somewhere. I know exactly where I would go. It's a little coffee shop in Northampton, really great little place. It's arty, it's small, it's quirky, it's quiet. And I sit near the window and I'm that sad person that people watches. But I know that is the place that I need to go if I really got some real important shit to sort out. If you can think of a similar place right now, then go to that place, put it in your diary, and start making your goals there. There's nothing stopping you from having your monthly reviews and your quarterly reviews in that same place. If you know somewhere that gets you in that right mindset and you don't go there, you might be putting yourself at a disadvantage before you've even started. You owe that to yourself to put yourself in the right positions that you know are going to work for you. I know it can be very difficult when you've got your boyfriend wanting you to go here, your mum wanting this from you, your boss wanting that from you, but you need to take that time, and if these goals really mean something to you, you will get yourself in that right position. You will put yourself in the right environment. And this leads me on to environment, not just from a physical standpoint, but from the standpoint of your peers, people that you surround yourself with. I've completely forgotten who said this quote, but you're the result of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you can think about the 5 people that you spend your most time with, I want you to really be real with yourself here. Are they positive or negative? Do they get you? Do they help you? I know this can be a very, very difficult question and difficult thing to kind of think about, because a lot of times, as I know myself, it can be the people that you're closest to that ultimately are stopping or making the process harder for you to get to the goals and the places that you want to be. So this doesn't mean to say, obviously, I'm not going to tell anyone to ditch XYZ person in their life, because a lot of this will be family members. But what I am saying is, maybe there will come a point in 2018 that you'll have to make a difficult decision as to whether that person is really helping you or not. And if not, who do you need to surround yourself more with in order to get you closer to the goals that you want to be hitting? The last thing that I want to be touching on is how to categorize your goals. I'd really encourage you guys just to brainstorm just at the beginning. Whatever comes into your head, just get it down on paper. Start visualizing it and start getting it down on paper. Once you get to there, podcast is called Not Just Bikini Girl for a reason. Your goals shouldn't just be fitness related. Why? Because there is another life outside of the stage, and you girls know that anyway. And it's a good thing to be very tunnel vision, especially when it comes to fitness and the goals that you have in that realm. It's also really, really important from a fulfillment standpoint and an overall balance of your life to have goals which are not just competing and fitness orientated. Once you start mapping down your goals, if they are related to competing and fitness, you might realise that there's other areas in your life that you need to really nail and take control of in order to facilitate those competing goals that you have. For example, you could be in a position that you really are ready to step on stage, but it's a very expensive sport, and you know that you're not in a position right now to hold down your job, hold down your bills, and actually hold down a competing season. So maybe when your goals needs to be around finances, around money, maybe you need to get your health on point. Maybe you know that your mindset is not in the right position where it needs to be before you go into your contest prep. So maybe one of your goals needs to fall within the mental health area or the mindset area, whatever you want to call it. Start trying to bunch these goals into different segments and different areas. And again, this is going to be something that you're going to be reviewing monthly and quarterly, and making sure that this goal resonates with you and it's something that you really, really want. One thing that I find is really, really helpful, I have probably about 10 to 11 categories myself. Some people have less, some people have more. It just depends on what they have going on. For example, I'm not a mum, so I wouldn't have family. I wouldn't typically have something which says children. I have some which is family, but for me, outer family and inner family are 2 very different things. So, if you're ready to start getting the goals that you want and start brainstorming and start working towards it, all you need to do is go over to notjustabikini.com, click on resources, and you will have your own little PDF ready for you to start writing those goals down and start making shit happen. The resources section is something that I've been working on ever since one of the listeners emailed me saying that it'd be really good to have templates and just resources that they can go onto at different stages of the competing kind of life cycle, as they say. So there's already the post-show playbook, which I created from episode 3, I think it was, and from 2018 onwards there's going to be resources added every couple of weeks to help you girls become mentally and physically stronger. So I hope you guys find that really, really helpful, and I hope you find the brainstorming helpful. This template is going to have different areas that I've already filled out. So it's going to have different categories that you're going to start working on. Now, if you want a blank template, then just let me know and I can modify that for you. But I hope this helps you girls really start claiming these goals that you want. I know that if you're listening to this, you're not someone that wants just the normal goals that everyone else wants. You want to go big and you want to go bigger and you want to do something different with your lives. So go over to the resources section. If anyone wants any support or help with filling out that form or just struggling with the GPS system that I've discussed, then please do email me on notjustabikinigirl@outlook.com. If you want me to break down this goals episode even more, I'm happy to do that. And I hope you guys have a wicked 2018, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.